trying something new, and I don't know where I want this to go yet. I've got several reasons that I want to do videos like this and continue to do so in the future. I'm going to explain a few of those reasons, and maybe you can give me some feedback as to whether or not that's something you want to see. For one, probably the longest factor or influence on me wanting to do this is that I've been into YouTube and sort of video, that like internet video culture for the majority of my life now. There are creators who I have followed since middle school, 15 years ago. Creators that I followed then that I even still keep up with to some extent. I've been an active follower on YouTube for that long. My interests have definitely changed. I've gone through phases of watching a lot more, gaming comedy, and in more recent years there's a lot of climbing content. That's always been a hobby of mine. It's been consistent that I enjoy watching creators on a platform like that. And in some ways it translates to social media too, for better or for worse. Seeing people who regularly create content out of their lives for the more optimistic and positive reason of just sharing their lives and their experiences with others, hopefully to impart, joy and teaching. I mean, there's a factor for a lot of people that they can turn that into a source of income, or other opportunities, other connections. They can sort of market themselves to think that someone in my position would end up moving so far away, moving to Europe for a job that is one of my passions and something that I spent years in school studying. Yeah, I've been drawn to the idea of moving somewhere farther outside my comfort zone, somewhere more interesting. That sort of exciting, unpredictable experience that comes with travel and living somewhere that is far less automatically understood as where you come from. With this huge life change, I figured some people would be interested in following my journey. I assume, especially at the beginning, that will mostly be family who want to keep up with me and maybe see a little bit more of an intimate verbal update on what's going on, however I decide to create that. Family and friends as well for the same reasons. I think another reason that I hadn't put a lot of thought into until now actually is this vlog idea. I think could act as a way to keep me grounded, very akin to people who find a lot of peace through something like journaling, the act of processing what's going on and getting that information outside of your own brain instead of internalizing all of those thoughts. That that makes it easier to think about things in an efficient way that sometimes cannot be replicated when we're only thinking to ourselves and never sharing that information, even if it's something private that isn't shared with another person. the act of translating those thoughts into something else is good for our mental health. Going through this move and this life change, I think it'll be a positive thing for me to purposefully set aside time on some kind of regular basis in order to express some of my thoughts and feelings. And it could be very personal about my life, or it just could be one step removed and more about the things going on in my life, about the travel, about the job, about the city. I would like to focus on the things that interest me and the things that have got me to this point, which are, the travel aspect, me being an American in Europe, also being a professional musician, my journey studying music for years, studying theory and conducting and singing, and then being able to turn that into a career trajectory that, combined with my ambition for travel and moving to another country, got me this opportunity. So those are sort of the thoughts behind what this is, but I think I'm open to it becoming something else in the future as well. Right now I'm on the precipice, and I'm about to take this step that is the largest single change of anything that's happened in my life. So it's hard to imagine that, the way I think about things will necessarily be the same even in a week when I'm living in a totally different country across the ocean, let alone many weeks or months or years. So, okay, this is actually at the end of what I'm recording, but I need to give a proper introduction of myself. So, I am JW, formerly known as John, still definitely known as John by a lot of people, especially those who have known me for more than the last couple years. JW is my preferred name. I just turned 28 last week. I live currently in Kentucky, where I've lived most of my life, aside from a few years in Mississippi for graduate school. But in a few short days, I am moving to Estonia in Europe, a Baltic state, almost as northeast as you can go on the continent, bordering Russia and Latvia, and right on the Baltic Sea across from Finland. I am starting to get excited, but I still feel like I'm not as excited as people assume that I am. That's a question I get asked the most probably at this point. Are you excited? Or you must be so excited. Well, yes, but there's been so much to do. It still feels like there's a lot to do. So I have tempered my excitement to an extent because I'm also dealing with nerves and anxiety and some fear, all things that are realistic, and I know that that's totally okay, but I think I'm trying to just take it all in as it comes, and I fully believe that when I move in a few days, I will be more excited once I'm there, once I'm past a lot of the anxieties, all of the logistical worries and such. So I'm moving to Estonia in a few days to join a full-time professional men's choir called the Estonian National Male Choir, the Eesti Rahvusmeeskor, which is pretty crazy to think back to myself several years ago in college when I really started getting into singing, and I really started to enjoy singing in a choir, singing with other people, experimenting with different genres and learning about different eras, and my interest grew quickly, but I think it was late compared to a lot of people who pursued singing and vocal music degrees, because I really didn't start singing until late in high school and didn't take it seriously until late in my bachelor's degree. Up until then, I was worried more about, at times playing the saxophone or piano, learning music theory and composition, and music business. I decided to sing when I was like 22 or something, 21 maybe, and jumped all in. At the time, I would have said that one of my future goals would be to sing with a professional choir in Europe. And it's a little hard to believe that I've made that happen now. So I am proud of myself for persevering and making that happen. But to do so, I did spend several years working hard on finishing multiple degrees and building connections, building a network, making friends and musical connections all over the country and in many places around the world, dealing with the pandemic and the fact that there was zero work or opportunity in that field for such a long period of time. But we got through that, got to the point where I could do more and find opportunities again, try and make a place for myself in my local area in the city of Louisville. My mind was always on how to take that training and that passion and take me somewhere else. How to take my singing and my musical abilities and move somewhere new and exciting. And for a while, I thought that could have been across the country, but this is where I'm at now, moving to Estonia to be a professional singer. Once I'm there, who knows what'll happen? Hopefully I will continue to grow, continue to find new opportunities, make new connections, and enjoy life and my path. I could move again. I could find other work that is more fulfilling in one way or another. There's so many possibilities, and I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna go with it, and maybe you'll follow along with me.